What's up, guys? This is Carter with Coin Mastery TV. Another episode coming at you. Big day today, August 1st, which is when Bitcoin Armageddon was supposed to happen. But as it stands, as of 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, it is not quite the same. So thank you. Welcome for coming. On this show today, we're going to walk through a little bit about what happened, a little bit about a build-up that happened before August 1st, what went down at 8:20 when the supposed fork, or not the fork, but the pool switch, the chain split was supposed to go down, short-term implications, and then potentially what may happen over the course of the rest of the day. I also want to show you a little bit about what I did, what I've been doing, and more importantly, what I haven't been doing, which I think is equally helpful and important to you guys. All right, so welcome. Thanks for coming. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, sign up for the newsletter on our site at coinmastery.com, and join us on this journey. It's very fun. So I guess the first place to start, as always, Crypto Watch. We're looking at I've really been looking at Bitcoin all day, right? Especially Bitfinex, which they just have all the volume. It's definitely the biggest exchange of Bitcoin by a good margin, right? I've been watching this. Let's pull back to the 1 hour just so that we can see a little bit of the overall trend. And I think that it's important to realize that the overall consensus on Twitter, on Facebook, Reddit, everywhere, is that, hey, this wasn't as bad as we thought. Look at the price, it's still there. Great. And I think that that's overall true. I think that this could have crashed. I think that I was expecting this to go down, Bitcoin's price to go down more short term. But I think the thing that I keep in mind is that it still went down, almost 10%. I mean, that's still a sizable downshift. And many of the pro traders that I talk to, that I follow, it's still very obvious that Bitcoin is in a precarious state. It may be in a kind of a holding pattern. I don't know if you would call it a bearish cycle, but it definitely needs something to break out. So I guess the news is that it's not as bad as everyone thought it would be, but it still went down a fair amount. And the reason I think that's important is because of the emotion that brings into people, right? People, when they're expecting one thing and they get another, there's this emotional reaction to it. And what we saw with that emotional reaction specifically is on Bittrex, right? So if you go over to Bittrex and you look, probably for the rest of the day, I would imagine, but definitely this morning, all of the altcoins just skyrocketed. And it was more than the proportionate downward trend of Bitcoin, right? So that the prices actually did go up a fair amount in fiat currency. So the overall impact was good, meaning that people were just moving money or buying into altcoins because they didn't think that the Bitcoin was going to go down to, whatever, 2,000, 1,500 or something like that. However, the altcoins had a big spike for about an hour, and now it's kind of petering out. It's kind of holding itself. It's dropping. It's coming back. It's dropping. And I think the reason why, and again, this is from looking at the overall macro trends, from seeing the way that people are talking about this and looking at the bigger situation, I think that there's still a bit of uncertainty because people aren't sure what really happened with Bitcoin Cash, right? They know they have it in their wallets, but they're not really sure if they can trade it. Can they dump it? Can they sell it? Can they actually get money for it? That question has not been completely answered yet. And the reason why is that many exchanges are still waiting to see if Bitcoin Cash can get mined by the new miners, right? There is a faction of miners that really sparked this whole debate. And they need to go out and mine the coins and prove that that new code for the new Bitcoin is actually viable. It actually works. So a lot of these exchanges, Bittrex being one, Kraken being another one. They are trading it. This is kind of, you can check it out here at kraken.com, but it's kind of a crapshoot. These numbers are just funny money, you know, because they don't have the wallet up yet. But they are showing signs that they could potentially support it, but they're waiting to see if this can actually get mined, right? And so there's a lot of rumors going around right now that Bitcoin Cash has all these fake, what are called nodes, which is really just a place that, a way to, kind of an entry point to mining the coins itself. So the more nodes there are, the more hash power it gets, the more extraction can happen, the more coins can be generated. And if you want to check this out, you can go to pool.viabtc.com, viabtc.com, this right here. And this will show you how this exchange, which is a Chinese exchange, which is the first and really the most adamant about Bitcoin Cash, how they are, where they are in the mining process. So you can see they've mined one block with 13 coins that have been mined. Now this block, I'm not sure that particular block worked correctly. I think it went to the old chain, but there, obviously no one really knows what's going to happen. So what does this mean for you? I think that this means that there is an initial sigh of relief that the Bitcoin price, as seen here, did not immediately tank. That's the first thing. So everyone said, okay, great. Let me put some money into altcoins as a hedge, because now that I know Bitcoin's not going way down, I still want to get the smaller coin money just to get some of those big returns. That was the first initial reaction from 8:20 to 9:15. I think from 9:15 to 10:15, which is kind of the last hour when I'm recording this, is people saying, great, I just got a 20% spike on whatever it is I got. But what's the deal with the Bitcoin Cash, right? I thought this whole thing was supposed to be about that. And there's this second wave of uncertainty, whereas you start to see the prices on these altcoins start to go in and out. Bittrex also had some login problems. Every exchange started to have some login problems, so there's a liquidity issue. But even with that, people are starting to wonder, like, hey, I just got all these Bitcoin Cashes, which all are being sent out to the wallets of the exchanges and the wallet and the treasurers that promise them, but no one's really sure, how do I dump it? How do I liquidate this? How do I sell this? And because of that, it's very hard to know what the long-term implications will be. So I think that probably this afternoon or tonight, we're going to see a second wave of action from this particular thing, this hard fork dramatic experience that is going to really hinge on whether or not Bitcoin Cash can be successfully mined, and if the average person can log into their account. Let's say they can log into Bittrex, take their Bitcoin Cash, and either sell it on Bittrex or send it to an exchange where they have a wallet where they could sell it. And if they can do that and make money on it, we're going to see a lot of action happening on the Bitcoin price. I think we'll see some downward pressure on the Bitcoin price because there'll be some movement over to that new market. And we'll see if that coin can hold itself. Now, many people think it's just going to die. It's a bad coin. It's just going to fall apart, which is, I think for the most part, that's got a little bit of credibility. But I also know that there's a lot of really powerful, really big whales that want that Bitcoin Cash to succeed, because they will make a lot of money if it does. So, you never want to underestimate small interest groups that are very, very passionate about what they're doing. So I think what that means is that tonight on August 1st and probably into tomorrow and maybe even for the rest of the week, I don't think that Bitcoin is out of the woods yet. And I'm not just saying this because this is what I want or anything, because in many ways, if Bitcoin goes down, it's worse for me. I own more Bitcoin than I do in, fiat currency right now, or digital currency to buy Bitcoin. So I would lose money if Bitcoin goes down. So it's not in my best interest. I just genuinely think that's probably what's going to happen, because once it becomes viable for people to sell Bitcoin Cash and there becomes a market for it, that's when we're going to see real pressure against Bitcoin. So all that being said, if that doesn't happen, if Bitcoin Cash ends up just sucking, and you go to these pools and it can't mine anything and the market doesn't exist and no exchanges take it, then Bitcoin Cash will die and the price of Bitcoin is going to skyrocket to 3,000 and then up to 5,000 maybe in the next 6 months or so, which would be awesome, and everything else will follow suit. But I think that there's still a fair amount of uncertainty. Now let's get into some individual coins here. I'm logged into Bittrex because they're having some login issues, and if you log out, you can't really get back in. So that's why I'm in here. When you look through all this, I think really just kind of across the board. And when I look at numbers like this, I think it's a little bit of a crapshoot, right? I think part of it is just people have their favorite coins. So the coins that traditionally get a lot of volume on days like today as well. It's kind of like a marketing issue, and some people are just kind of shooting from the hip. I think Stratus obviously did really well. It went up to about 22 this morning, which was pretty sweet. And I mean, that was at 17 yesterday, so that was a nice little bump. Let's see who else did really. Elastic, which is their ticker is XEL. They were one of the biggest gainers. They went up almost 50%. They're actually a platform. I believe it's a privacy style platform. It's kind of similar to Ethereum in that sense, but you might want to check them out. They've been a little bit lower in the market caps for a while. This was like one of their biggest pushes, but they were probably the biggest winner this morning. And then some of the other ones I talked about, OMG showed some pretty good strength. Waves actually earlier was doing pretty well. Library credits has been kind of going up and down a lot. I don't know if I love library credits because it's a cool idea, but that's a very hard business to break into, right? The idea of content monetization. I love the concept. Operationally, that might be difficult. And Ethereum. I think Ethereum was one of the biggest winners overall. In general, I think that Ethereum people just kind of starting to look at that as a bit of a hedge against Bitcoin beyond just Litecoin. I think traditionally Litecoin was a hedge against Bitcoin. But Ethereum is starting to get a little bit of that. And you can see all of these prices went down against Ethereum because of the strength of Ethereum. My faithful Monero just chugging along. Nothing crazy, but it's fine by me. That's a long-term play. And yeah, I don't really dive in past the first page. I mean, I look at Lumen, right? Because I like Lumen a lot. I own some ARK, which actually did really well today. And some Golem. But all of these are so far depressed, the pricing, that I'm not that concerned about trying to sell any of this stuff right now. I'm really just gonna let this all shake out. Probably try to wait till it gets up to more liquid levels. Make sure Bitcoin has its feet, and then start making some moves. So overall, I'm really not making any moves. I'm gonna probably sell off a little bit of Lumen that I bought in the 500s just to get that 10%, just because why not? You might as well. And a few other coins that are very, very, I don't own very much at all. So I'll check that out. But really, even with this awesome movement, I'm hanging out. I'm not going to do a whole lot today. I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this via BTC pooling to see how BCC works out. And then I'm going to really spend my time on Twitter and Reddit and Bitcoin Talk and just talking to people and hearing from people. And my goal, or what the thing I'm looking for, and I think the thing that anybody should be looking for, is what are people going to do with the new Bitcoin Cash that they now have? What is going to happen to that? And you can look on Facebook or you can look on Twitter. If you need anybody to follow, go on twitter.com/Carter Thomas. That's me. Follow me. And then look at the people I follow. There's only like 100. and you'll see some of the top people in crypto, and following them is very, very helpful. But they're also the top guys. So I think often it's good to go and just look through all the comments and find people that are just the average people that are trying to get into crypto. How are they looking at the Bitcoin Cash thing? Do they know what to do with it? Do they know where to spend it? And just so you guys know, there is no place to go spend that yet. Tomorrow there may be, but today there is no exchange you can go and dump that coin yet. So once we get that option, that's when I think we're going to see some real action. And we're going to at least get answers both up or down. So I think the real message today is, one, nothing apocalyptic, which was awesome. Altcoins spiked, but they're stagnating now, which is totally fine. I wouldn't buy anything right now. I would wait. And then I think tonight and into tomorrow, we're going to start to see the unfolding of Bitcoin Cash. I'm not ruling it out yet, but until we know for sure how that's going to play out, it's very difficult to know what to do next. So for the most part, I would say hang tight. I don't have any coins or anything that I can necessarily recommend right now other than what I always keep my eyes on. And I think that just be ready for any of those situations to happen, right? Be ready if Bitcoin is going to tank. Be ready if it's going to go through the roof. Be ready if altcoins are going to tank. Be ready if altcoins are going to go through the roof. I go through, let me show you, like yesterday, I mean, I spent a lot of time, right? I have these like flow charts here where I just say, okay, I woke up on August 1st. This is if Bitcoin goes to 3,000 immediately. This is if Bitcoin stays at 2,500. This is if Bitcoin goes down below 2,500 or 2,750. This went below 2,500. And then I put a line that says at 820, here's the next set, right? And the reason I write this down is because when you're clear-headed, you can come up with a really good plan. When you're in the moment, it's very difficult. Even if you think you're clear-headed, you're not, right? The consciousness is different. So I always want to write that stuff down so that when things are happening, you know, when I see Stratus go up 22%, as crazy as it sounds, I can look at this and say, when do I sell or when do I buy? And if I didn't plan on selling, even if it's so tempting to do, I won't do it because it wasn't in my plan. So for anybody, if you're looking for something to do today, or you want to, you know, kind of get your fix of crypto for the day, write down your plan, right? Do it on your computer, do it on a piece of paper, but write down exactly what you would do if any of those things happened, right? Bitcoin goes up, down, goes up big, goes up, down, goes down big. Altcoin goes up, down, goes up big, whatever. And it'll be a very worthwhile exercise. That's really the best thing to do on days like today, because what we're really waiting for, selfishly, is for everybody to be terrified and scared and not sure what's going to happen next. That's what happened in July when probably the first video I did actually, and I was like, you gotta this is the day to buy. Go buy as much as you possibly can because everybody was so terrified. That's really what we want to happen if we want to have a big buying spree. Otherwise, it's more of a calculated, look at what the opportunities are. And my personal thing is, I just don't think that there's enough data right now, both from the chart, from the looking at the market, and from looking at the conversations online, to make a real decision. So that's what I'm doing. You know, maybe if it goes 5,000 tomorrow, I missed out, but that's the plan. I'm going to stick to it. So I hope this was helpful. Kind of an anticlimactic, but still a fun August 1st hard fork. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Make sure you guys leave comments. Let me know if you have any questions on YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe on YouTube. Go to coinmastery.com and sign up for the newsletter list. We do free newsletters. You can go check it out. And then, as always, make sure you tell your friends. Share these videos or share the post or whatever, or share the podcast wherever you're consuming this, and let them know so we can spread the word. All right, guys, have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.